Hey Claire, what's going on? You were just playing a Nintendo DS.
I was just playing a Nintendo DS.
That was so crazy. Like, you were performing electronic music off my childhood toy. How did you do that?
Well, okay, so these game consoles, the games have sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like sound hardware inside the machine, and people have written programs that they release on these cartridges. This is Nanoloop. They've written programs that allow you to sort of take control of the sound hardware in the DS, program your own music into it, and perform it live.
So is it like you're hacking the DS somewhat?
Somebody hacked the DS. I've just bought the thing that they made.
Okay,
and used
cool.
it.
Yeah, so it's sort of like you're using the relatively sort of a limited amount of sounds
Yeah, exactly.
that are in a DS, and you've constructed some crazy party electronic tunes out of it.
That's a good way to put it, I think.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
I've seen online that you've used, you're not limited to the DS in your music making.
No, I'm not. I've used, or like, this is a recent thing for me. Before, I used to use the original, like the brick Game Boy.
Like Game Boy Color?
Not even Game Boy Color, like before Game Boy Color.
What's before Game Boy Color?
Just Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just called the Game Boy. And,
right.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they're
not
really
even
big.
colour.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
color. Like,
yeah.
it's a black and white screen.
Yeah.
But that has an even more limited set of sounds that you can use. So you have to be really, pretty much it's got four different sound channels. So you can really only have 4 sounds going on at once. So you have to be very economical and use clever tricks and stuff to make it sound like there's a lot more going on than just those 4 sounds at once.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So you'll be performing at 24 Moons coming up at a festival called Square Sounds. That'll be on the 23rd and the 24th of February. And Square Sounds is Australia's only music festival that's dedicated to chiptune music, is that right?
Yeah, chiptune. Yep.
Chiptune music. So your music is chiptune music.
Yes.
Could you tell me about chiptune as a genre?
Okay, so chiptune, basically, it's music that's either made with old computers or video game consoles, or it's made to sound like it's made with old computers or video game consoles.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, whether it be Commodore 64, DS, Game Boy, whatever.
So you
Nintendo.
use all sorts of old, like, nostalgic tones and stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say nostalgia plays a big part in your music process?
Not to me personally. It's more about making something cool despite the limitations of the hardware.
Right.
That's how I feel about it anyway.
Did your musical journey sort of start with Game Boys, or?
Not quite. I actually, I'm a classical musician, really. So I started learning the cello when I was 7 years old in primary school, and that's my main thing really still, is the cello. And I picked up guitar along the way as well, and so chiptune is kind of a side thing, but it's also kind of really serious at the same time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm a classical musician.
Yeah. So chiptune's a side thing, but a serious thing. Like, it seems like there's a pretty solid fan base out there for chiptune.
Oh yeah, especially in Melbourne. Melbourne is like, I mean, I feel like Melbourne's a good city for a lot of musical things, but we have a really, really strong scene here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel like we were sort of mentioning nostalgia before, but since so many of these sounds are like so reminiscent of times in my childhood and like games I'd play, and you know, certain sounds that are like doosh, that are like, oh, you've run into something, and like, you know, like, do you feel like making music with these sort of sounds in this genre sort of taps into like a collective subconscious with people, and like if you tap something and make like a good sound, people are going to be like, yeah, like you've made something from this thing we all share. I feel like
people definitely, when they find out about chiptune, they're like, oh my god, there's this, you know, I used to have a Game Boy when I was a kid. I didn't know it was still good for anything.
Right.
I didn't know you could do this with it. Oh my goodness, how are you doing that? So people appreciate it on that level. I do, I see what you're saying with it getting into people's subconsciouses because there's because of those sounds that they're so used to hearing. But at the same time, with chiptune, with certain things, depending on what you're doing, you can make it sound wildly different from anything that's ever been in a video game.
Yeah, right.
As well. So, yes and no.
Yeah,
I
so
guess.
that's sort of like what sampling is in our digital age, right? Like you sample something that's familiar and something that we share in the past because of that, but then also you sort of rework it into something different and new.
Yeah, so it has the nostalgia factor, but it's fresh as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So did you fall in love with music or gaming first?
Oh, definitely music. Yeah. I had a Game Boy, I think, at the time that I picked up cello, but music as a music will always be my first and my main love.
Yeah, cool. As mentioned before, you'll be performing at 24 Moons as part of Square Sounds Festival on the 23rd and 24th of February. What can we expect from a live They Them show?
What you just heard before with the with the performances there. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing all nano loop. It's gonna be very energetic. It's gonna be very experimental, minimal at times, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.